I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Music Theory Tuition series where I work with you step by step through the ABRSM Discovering Music Theory grades. I'll work through every single exercise and explain everything you need to know. You can access information about the books I have available to help you on my website. Go to sharonbill.com. For advert-free and longer lessons, you can become a patron at patreon.com/SharonBill. If you can give me a like, that would be super, and please do subscribe to my channel to stay updated. You can support this channel by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SharonBill. Let's press on to page 45 of the Grade 5 Discovering Music Theory workbook, and we're continuing to look at the topic of chords. And here we can see that it's explained to us, and of course it's the fact that although we are writing music on paper, music is to be heard, it's played, and these chords, whether it's they're played on one instrument or they're divided between several instruments in an orchestra, each chord will create a particular musical effect. And if you think about it, chord 1 is home, that's where everything will sound finished. Chords 4 and 5 are part of the primary triads, kind of the skeleton structure that holds music together, 1, 4 and 5. Chords 4 and 5 don't sound finished because they're not the home chord, and so chord 5 is perhaps the strongest, that's the dominant chord, it dominates the key and it kind of leaves you hanging. Chord 4 doesn't sound finished, but it's a little bit more gentle. It's not such a strong chord, although it's the next strongest chord really, and again it doesn't sound finished. Chord 2 is a good lead-in chord, and it's a good lead-in to a cadence, like an ending point or a mid-point in a piece of music. And we've already discussed how chords 1, 4 and 5 in the major key are major chords, but chord 2 is a minor chord because of the way the key signature works with the notes of the second chord in the scale. In a minor key, chords 1 and 4 are minor. Chord 5 is always major because of the raised seventh. The leading note that's raised always creates a major chord. It falls in the middle of the triad. And in a minor key, chord 2 is diminished because the fifth note is also a minor interval because of the key signature of the minor scale. And so we can see how each chord creates a particular musical effect. And now we need to explain, so we're doing a little bit of harmonic analysis. We've got a key signature, and of course it could be major or minor, depending which key, the related key. However, we're told here which key, if it's the major or minor, we're told the key, and then it's for us to decide how to explain this given chord here. And so what we need to do is we need to draw out the options. And so we need to consider the options of chords 1, chords 2, chords 4 and chords 5. And so in A flat major, chord 1 is built on an A flat. I won't bother with the flats there because your key signature will deal with that. Chord 2 will be built on the B part of the scale. We're not doing chord 3, which would be C, and then we have D and E. So 1, 2, 4 and 5 steps of the scale. We build the chords from those, first, third, fifth, so A, C, E, B, D, F, D, F, A, E, G, B. Can't really see that, can we? Let's move that up. Chord 4 is D, F, A. There we go. And again, if you find that hard to do, you can always visualise on the piano, first, third, fifth. First, third, fifth, and then the D, first, third, fifth, and the E, first, third, fifth parts of the scale. And we know that we're right because if that's the fifth, that gives us the bass of chord 5 here. So we know that that's correct as well. So here we have a B, D, F. Of course, it's a B flat, but the key signature deals with that. because that's middle C in the treble clef. C is at the bottom of the treble clef, and so that explains why we can be sure it's chord 2. And so let's draw out the options for exercise B. So we're looking at the options of chords 1, 2, we're not doing 3, but I could just put that so it's easier to count, 4 and 5. So 1 is B, 2 is C, 3 is D, we're not doing that, and then E, F, it's just easier to count through the steps of the scale. We have B, D, F, C, E, G, E, G, B, F, A, C, and we can tell that we're right because chord 5 is built on the 5th degree of the scale, 1st, 3rd, 5th, and that gives us the 5th. So here we're in B minor and we have the letters B, D, F, which of course is chord 1. So there's our Roman numeral 1. You can just do that, or you can do like a little italicized Roman numeral like that if you prefer. So here we are, we can spread out a bit now. So chords 1, 2, we're not doing 3, 4, 5, but we're just stepping up the scale. So we have a G, A, we don't need the B, and then C, D, 1, 2, 4, 5, and now we build the triads. G, B, D is our 1st, 3rd, 5th. G, B, D. A, C, E builds chord 2. C, E, G builds chord 4. And then D, F, A builds chord 5. And we can see chord 5 is built on the 5th, 1st, 3rd, 5th degree of the scale. We can double check that. So here we have an A, C, E. Of course it's E flat, but the key signature will deal with all of that, and we can see that they're the notes of chord 2, and that E flat gives us our diminished chord because we're in a minor key, A, C, E flat. And so if you think you've got the hang of that, have a go at the rest of these. I'm hoping you've had a go. It's much better to learn by your mistakes. And so let's check through these together. Let's try and get a bit more room here. So we have chords 1, 2, 4 and 5. We're in E major, so chord 1 is E, F, we don't have G, that's the 3rd, A, C, E, G, B, F, A, C, E. Oh, I've just gone. A, E, F, G, A, B. There we go. 1, 2, 4, 5. That's B, D, F. You know, you can double check that. I carried on too far. And so here we have B, D, F. That's chord 5. So here we have chords 1, 2, 4 and 5 to choose from. We're in C major, C, D, E, F, G are our root notes for those chords. C, E, G, D, F, A, F, A, C, G, B, D. There's our 5 sort of checkpoint. We have notes D, F, A. That gives us chord 2. You can do it just by finding the root note. You perhaps don't feel you need to do all of those, but it's as well to be thorough because we're going to be needing this sooner or later, so we might as well get used to it now. So we have the options chords 1, 2, 4 and 5. And we're in D flat major, so we have D flat, but I'll let the key signature do all the flats. D, E, F, G, A. So D, F, A is chord 1, E, G, B is chord 2, G, B, D is chord 4, A, C, E is chord 5. That's correct. And here we have G, B, D. Of course, it's flats, but that's okay. Your key signature deals with that. We can see that it's chord 4. Let's carry on. Now here we've got a massive clue. We're in a minor key and we've got a sharp. That's got to be the raised 7th in chord 5. So we could just say that straight away. However, let's just follow through just to establish good habits. 1, 2, 4, 5, D, E, F, G, A, D, F, A, E, G, B, G, B, D, A, C, E. But of course we're in a minor key, and chord 5 has the raised 7th of C sharps, and that explains that there. And so that's chord 5, A, C sharp, E. Chord 5 is always a major chord, even in minor key, because of this raised 7th. And that raised 7th always needs to resolve home to the tonic, which is why chord 5 always pulls to chord 1, because the C sharp desperately wants to pull to the D to resolve home. So here we're in G sharp minor, so we want chords 1, 2, 4 and 5. And then that's G, A, B, C, D. Of course it's sharps, but your key signature will deal with all of that. G, B, D, A, C, E, C, E, G, D, F, A. Of course that's the raised 7th, and so that F sharp would become a double sharp. However, here we have that if that's middle C, that's a B, that's an A, C, E. There we have chord 2. And then finally in G major, we could just use these again because we're doing the same notes, 1, 2, 4 and 5. Of course the key signature is different, but the key signature will deal with all of that. We don't need to worry too much about it. You could sort of put all the sharp signs in as you go along, but there's no need. The key signature does that for you. And so we can see it's built on 1, 2, 4 and 5. And here we have D, F, A. Oh, G, A, B, C, D. And we know that chord 5 is D, F, A. We've already written those out. So there's chord 5. And now in the challenge we get the opportunity to write these chords for ourselves, and we get the chance to write it out using lots and lots of different clefs as well. So we can just pick any of these chords really that we've used in exercise 2. So let's just give ourselves some space. So we'll perhaps do 4 of each. Do as many as you like really. So let's start with G minor. We'll do this chord 2 in G minor, and of course you could pick any octave that you like, but I'll write these at pitch here exactly. So this chord here, A, C, E, could be written A, C, E like that, couldn't it? Just dropping the octave, but we're going to keep to exact pitch and create these chords exactly in different clefs. So we're going to do exercise C to begin with. You can choose any you like. So we need a key signature in the alto clef. There's a B flat and an E flat in alto clef, because remember that's middle C, so that's B. Now in the tenor clef, if that's C, that's B flat, that's E flat. And in the bass clef, because we've already got it in treble, so now we're in bass clef, B flat and E flat. Now this is going to be really high because this isn't quite high in the treble clef, isn't it? So this is the A above middle C, and so in that case this is the C, D, E, F, G, that's the A, and then first, third, oh dearie me, shall I do that again? So we have first, third, fifth. I think that proves the point why we need to have different clefs, because we're going to have all sorts of ledge lines going on here, because this is going to be even higher again. So this will be the A above middle C, C, D, E, F, G, A, then that's the first, then the third, then the fifth. So we can see why it's so much easier in the treble clef. So it's going to be crazy high in the bass clef if we're going to write it exactly at pitch. So if this is middle C, C, D, E, F, G, we're getting a bit silly now. First, third, fifth. It's like, oh my days, that's crazy high in the bass clef. It makes so much more sense to write it in the treble clef. It'd be so much easier if we dropped the octaves, wouldn't it? So if we drop the octaves, it would be A, C, E. There we go. Let's choose perhaps one that's slightly lower range. So we're still in these same clefs. Let's have a go at exercise D, which is a slightly lower range. It's worth seeing that just to prove the point why we need these different clefs, because if a high instrument was trying to play in the bass clef all the time, it would just be ridiculous, wouldn't it? And so exercise D, we have E major key signature, and then we're going to have chord 5 starting on the B below middle C. So let's get our key signatures in place. So if we're in the alto clef, C, D, E, F, it's good practice, bit of revision on your clefs and placing your key signatures. G, D. And so in the tenor clef, we've got to drop down now because it goes too high. So C, B, A, C, B, A, there we go, F sharps, C sharps, G sharps, and D sharps. If you don't play in these clefs, it does take a bit of thinking about. So if that's middle C, there's the root of our chord. Let's do the bass clef one. So F, C, G, D. There we go. And so we want, for D, we want the B below middle C as our root note. So if this is middle C, that's the B. And then that's all the thinking done. It's just first, third, fifth. It goes space, 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 or line, line, line when it's in root position like this with the root note at the bottom. So if that is C, that is B, first, third, fifth. Now it's going to be a bit higher in the bass clef. If this is middle C, this is the B, first, third, fifth. Not too bad for ledger lines though. Let's just move on to the next one. Let's do E, which is kind of a similar range. Not too many ledger lines should be required in the bass clef for that. So let's do E, which is C major, and we've got chord 2 on the D just above middle C. So C major's got no key signature, so we've made light work there. And then if this is middle C, then this is D, first, third, fifth. There's chord 2. And so in the next clef, if this is middle C, this is D, first, third, fifth. And in the bass clef, if this is middle C, this is D, first, third, fifth. And then let's jump ahead a little bit, and I think we'll go a little bit lower if we can. And so let's have a go of this one. So we'll look at H now. So H, we need a key signature of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sharp. So this will be a good bit of practice getting our key signatures written out in the different clefs. So we want F, C, G, D, A sharps. So in the alto clef, C, D, F, C, G, D, and then we've got to go down to the A, C, B, A sharps, there we go. That's right, and then in the tenor clef, we're going to have to go down, so the F sharp, C, B, A, G, F sharp, F, C, C, B, A, G, D, and A sharps, that's that, and then in the bass clef, F, C, G, D, A sharps. Now then we're looking for the C, B, A below middle C, and so that's the C, B, A below middle C, first, third, fifth. So if that's middle C, that's C, B, A, that's first, third, fifth. That's right. And then now because we want the A below middle C, that'll be there. There's middle C, first, third, fifth. And that's that challenge completed, and that's that page completed. I hope this is helpful to your studies. Please do like and subscribe to stay updated. If you'd like to support this channel, you can buy me a coffee, and for advert-free lessons you can become a patron. Do visit my website where you'll find many resources available to help you. Visit sharonbill.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.